Well, it's 4:30, so welcome everybody. Thank you all for being here for the work session for May. It's our first work session for the month of May. In the month of April, we went through in the second meeting and had planning and development go through and kind of started the process of doing our zoning information so that there was additional information provided to the board before they had to go through and vote. When we made that change, we also started kind of working with trying to plan and schedule where at least one department during the work session would kind of present an update that gives a little bit more in-depth detailed information on their department and how the operations are going. So our first one, because we're so excited for all of the 911 center dispatchers and everybody, and I know she's extremely excited to have an opportunity to talk and to get up and speak. But we've got Miss Christy Easterwood, Director of 911 Center, is going to go through first, and then we'll get some updates from some other departments after that and have another speaker for that. So it's all yours.
Alright, first thank you for the opportunity to speak. Just go through some stats I pull and stuff. First I want to give a little history of 911. 911, long before 911, the town criers was the original 911. Before Alexander Graham Bell created the telephone on June 2nd of 1875, public safety was alerted by town criers. They would run from house to house, town to town, saying, hey, we need help. A signal number was designed in Great Britain in 1937. They used 999 to report emergencies. Not to be outdone, Congress 21 years later decided we need our own universal number. Which during this time we had independent telephone companies was what ran most of the. So the B.W. Gallagher, president of Alabama Telephone Company, made it his mission to be the first to implement 911 since they didn't consider these independent telephone companies when making this ruling that we were going to have a single digit. So in Haleyville, Alabama, on February 16, 1968, Congressman Tom Bevell was the first to answer a 911 call in all places in Alabama. So, Pickens County 911 was established by resolution on the first day of August in 1994. We began taking 911 calls. I believe Chief Elrod was there that day. March of 1995, we were located in a small room on tables, literally, in the basement of the courthouse with 2 operators on duty 24 hours a day. We wrote everything down on cards and logs, and we didn't have any location. If they couldn't tell us the location, then we couldn't help them. We went to Enhanced 911 in 2004, which gave us the alley, Annie's Spill, which showed us where people were calling from. And now we're located in our current building, back here behind the county administrative building, with 3 operators and 1 supervisor positions, 24 hours a day. In total, we have 16 full-time, 1 part-time, and 1 administrative position. In 2021, we upgraded our phone system to Solacom. It was a great update for us. And then in 2023, 2024, we'll be looking to upgrade our computers and servers for our CAD system as well as our radio consoles. The radio consoles are the original from 2004, so they're dinosaurs. Some stats I pulled. In 2001, we processed 67,377 calls for service. Of those, 7,211 were medical and or fire calls. 54,443 were law enforcement. And this last one's the one that gets me. 5,723 were miscellaneous, which includes 4,651 911 hang-up calls. That's where we've answered the phone and nobody was there. We had to turn and call somebody back to find out, oh, it was in my pocket, or my kid was playing with it. Just because you don't have a SIM card in your phone doesn't mean your kid can't dial 911. Just it's a note to the public there. It will still come through. We answered emergency lines to 22,593 times, and then the non-emergency lines was 65,599 times. Our fire calls, we had an average dispatch time of 51 seconds. EMS calls, an average dispatch time of 32 seconds. in law enforcement, because they take a little more detail to get information out, and was 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Our busiest day was Wednesday. Thought that was kind of odd. Wasn't expecting a Wednesday. But even more shocking to me when pulling this was at 9 o'clock in the morning. Was our busiest time.
Everybody running late.
It's just by 208 calls, but 9 o'clock in the morning is busier than 9 o'clock at night. For 2021, the Georgia Department of Revenue from the 911 Service Fund reports that we collected $584,699.46. This is from the $1.50 for each phone line that everybody has. I processed 351 open records requests, and the employees, despite COVID, despite being shorthanded, we still managed 441 hours of training. For the 911 addressing, which I also take care of for Pickens County, City of Jasper, Town of Pockrock, and the City of Nelson, we approved 12 new road names, assigned 528 new addresses. And that does include the renaming and reassignment of some addresses. Any questions?
As a point of clarity, and maybe I'm wrong on this, where it shows the difference between emergency and non-emergency calls, is that because a cell phone dials into non-emergency numbers, or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, it's the cell phones that come in on the 911 lines.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is great. That includes the times where Chief Elrod's called in to see what's going on, or we've had to call the road department, stuff like that.
That accounts for about half of those then, so.
Clarification, because I've been in a meeting or something,
Yeah.
what do they call that? That happens. That does happen.
I think it's kind of neat. We've got a lot of history in the room, though. We've got Chief Elrod was there with the first call in the 911 center, and Chief Prather was there during the first town crier. So, pretty neat.
He thinks he's kidding, but I've actually heard him tell this story when the fire department, when his dad was the chief, they would call Shirley Aaron, and she would go down the phone call for the City of Jasper.
That was our 911.
Yeah.
You call Shirley Aaron and she go down the phone list and call everybody at home.
Call everybody till she got one.
To the fire, yeah.
Wow.
And a little bit more flavor to that, TJ Prather was the only guy that knew how to get to the fire, so we just told everybody, follow TJ, he'll get you there.
Thank you, Miss Christie, very much. I think everybody being able to see how much y'all do is beneficial, and how many calls that are coming through there. And I have a feeling that your numbers for 22 are going to be spiked significantly above there. But thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
As far as the other departments, I do know on our agenda for our regular meeting at 5:30, we do have the broadband element that's got to be amended. Justin, I was going to let him speak to that, just to update as to why we need. I know we voted on that recently. We had somebody with Northwest Regional come in and speak, but I wanted Justin to kind of update the need for us to vote on that during the regular stuff.
So in 2018, the state adopted the Achieving Connectivity Everywhere Act. It's the ACE Act. It requires counties and cities to adopt an amendment to their comprehensive plan, specifically the broadband amendment. We're a little bit ahead of schedule. Ours is up due, I think Wes will probably tell you better than I can, but I think it's next year when they start working on that for the update. So we're a little bit ahead for that, but if you adopt the amendment, it allows you to adopt a ordinance or resolution. That way you can apply for a broadband ready community. Allows you to apply for state and federal funds for broadband infrastructure projects. The one that you have before you tonight is just the county saying we're enacting the approved version that DCA sent back to us and said that this version is approved, it meets all the standards, and it's just the Board of Commissioners taking that into consideration and adopting it. That way it's included into our comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, so Kurt, put you on the spot, because I know you've got a bunch of projects coming up.
Still
so.
riding. First off, we are done with our part of Hill City Road. We replaced 2 cross pipes. I'd like to give kudos to the crews that worked on those. We kept those road closures down to 1 day each, so everything, you can't hold us to that every time, but this time everything fell together and they was able to get those in and get the roads open back up in a very timely manner. And I'd like to thank all the crews that worked out there. We had about a crew and a half out there at all times on that widening projects, and they've been at that about 6 weeks on and off as the weather permitted. It took about 3,600 tons of gravel just to do that little strip of gravel on both sides of the road. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you go 4.5 miles, it added up to quite a bit of material and quite a bit of work, but it's turned out really well. And then Johnson Paving is going to be starting next Tuesday. I talked to them today and they said they're probably going to start on double branches, but you know, in the coming weeks, they're going to be going around the ones we're paving, and when they do come back on Hill City, they're going to widen out over some of that gravel that we put on the side, so we'll actually wind up with a wider street whenever they get done overtopping that, and they got painters lined up to come in directly behind them. Moss Pavement helped us this week with some of the patches where we'd replace pipes and stuff. I know we had a bunch that were open, some of them since the flood last year, where we replaced pipes. One of them was out on Henderson Mountain. We got quite a few calls on it, but they got it patched back. One thing that is coming up in the next couple of weeks, we're probably going to have to close Henderson Mountain for 1 day. We've got another cross pipe out there. I want to say the address is about 6045. It's more toward the Hill City side, but I'll try to get with 911 and all whenever that gets a little closer and give everybody a heads up on that. But you know, hopefully keep that a day or two to replace that pipe. But it's another cross drain that needs to be replaced. Other paving contractors, they're supposed to be coming in around July 1st. And our bridge project is supposed to kick off around July 1st as well. I think that's all that we've got going on. Mowers are mowing. We've got mowers out. I know we're behind on mowing, but Hill City, like I said, it kind of had everybody tied up as extra, but we did get our mowers out on the road here in the last week or two, and they're mowing both sides of the county as quick as they can. Like I said, I know we're a little behind on it and on some of our maintenance stuff. We did get the crew out to Cove Road today, patch the potholes back out there until we can get the paving crews started on it, and they will start on Cove Road. Cove Road's going to go before Grandview does, so but we did get crews out there on that to get it patched back up to span between now and then. So maybe with that big project off of us, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Come up with it, just right then, didn't you?
Right then.
That's what I thought.
So on Hill City Matthews, I know that we talked a lot about y'all able to get a shoulder put in at that turn a little bit better when y'all widened it out.
Yeah, that any material we had, we tried to widen that out. I would like to put some more there one day, but we got, you know, as we dug that out, we widened it out, and that's, you know, we had gravel there. We went ahead and got Moss to go ahead and pave that back, because that was dangerous coming off one road onto the gravel there, so I got to go ahead and cap over it. And then when they come through, like it and, you know, Hill City both, when they pave, they'll pave over all of that, so you won't even see those patches when they get done.
Any questions? All right, who else has something? Any other updates from department heads? Chief Prather, you getting settled in? Questioning every now and then what you were thinking when you finally retired and you jumped right back in?
Working on it.
Well, we've got Mr. Frank, is it Leicester,
He's-
I always
Leicester.
get it in my head backwards, has came to kind of present to the board, where they're working on phase 2 for the Veterans Memorial Project. I'm going to turn it over to him. Let him go through and give us an update on that. Make sure that pops up.
First, I'd like to thank the commissioners for allowing me to be here today. This is what we call a professional courtesy. As you're well aware, the historical point of Pickens Veterans Memorial Park started many years ago. We have, we're going on our 5th year of dedication since we've had that park. And the thanks to your predecessor, Rob Jones, the president of the mayor, John Weaver, we were allowed to do what we had to do at that park. And we built our park. Anyone not know where this park is? Because I'll be very disappointed. Okay. I get that through this county sometimes, and it gets a little nerve-wracking sometimes. But when we started this project, we had several people that had a vision for this park. Part of that vision was to honor all the veterans from anywhere in the United States. I want to make sure I get that misconception out there. People think it's, you know, it does belong. Let me remind you all, it belongs to Pickens County. It belongs to you. This park is yours. Even though it's honoring veterans, it is yours. And that's what we try to do, respect it and treat it the way it is. And so when we honor our veterans out there, we're honoring all veterans. That was the vision. So if anyone wanted a brick of honor, that's how we built that out there. There are bricks of honor out there. There's 903 bricks of honor right now out there. And there's more room to expand. But we got bricks out there from Colorado, Alaska, you can name it, we've got the bricks out there. We actually got our first K9 brick out there that served 2 tours in Afghanistan and was with the sheriff's department for a short time before he passed away. Thank you, Arrow, I'm not can't remember how to pronounce his name, but we got his brick out there. So it's important to understand what that monument's all about. We were very fortunate with the leadership of this county and the city to allow us to build this and continue building, expanding. We got a legal agreement that we can go from there up to 53. So we've had some visions, phase 2 and phase 3. We're presently working on phase 2 right now, and this is just the communication to let folks know. One of the things that Rob Jones and Chris Stencil insisted before we did anything was to somehow communicate to the folks that are on the monument in front of the courthouse. There are 55 veterans from Pickens County who passed away in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and of course we got David Collins out there for the Desert Storm. So there are 55 names in that county. As you're well aware, you all have been here for many years, that was the place for all veteran ceremonies. Any event, that's where we had it. So when we built our memorial here, now all the events are happening here. And so we wanted to make sure in Vision 2 that we honored those 55. We asked permission to move that monument before we started this concept and move it from there to the park and center it. And Rob Jones and Chris insisted that we make sure we tried to communicate to the 55 families. You got World War I, World War II, it's kind of hard to communicate directly to them. So this is my way of communicating with them. We did a Pickens progress. We have Notice Pickens. We're just letting people know that we are going to be moving it. And so if there's any concerns we hope that we hear from them. We've not heard a word since we started this about 4 weeks ago. So this is the communication piece of this right now. So the vision now is a dog tag. Anybody got any veterans here? You're talking to a 22-year retired, Sergeant Major retired? Yeah, so that's a dog tag if you don't know what that is. And so that was the vision. We're gonna put the tablets again, if you're familiar with the vision that's out there now. And in those tablets, we will put granite facial uniforms of soldiers of that era. And we're placing their names on the bottom of those granite. So they'll have the names there, plus the monument will be there. And we'll have benches around it. And then the star will be the star point of the monument. That's really the plan. So, but we want to honor these 55. We want to relocate the monument. install the granite monuments there, allowing Pickens County Veterans Park being, it's inclusive now. So now when we talk about Veterans Memorial Park, you no longer have to say, well, yeah, it's over in front of the courthouse. It is now what it is called. We're very fortunate that Brandon Douglas, when he was here at the city, changed some signs for us. We asked him, and he had called it Veterans Memorial Park. So we want to make sure it's inclusive, that it's all together. That's the plan for phase 2. And what we're trying to do is continue notifying families as much as we can to let them know, hey, this is going to happen. It's not going to happen in the next 4 weeks. We got to get some money first. We're looking for that now. Fundraising. We're thinking about $85,000 to $90,000 to do it. It's really flat. It's not going to be as elaborate as the first phase. We presently have $52,000. That was some grant money that we got. We held a raffle last year, got $10,000 there. We got $20,000 from Amicola. We were really fortunate last year. We just got $15,000 from the thrift store, Plan and Game, which you can do it every quarter. Got $2,500 from Walmart, and then cash donations that we've been getting. So that's the plan. We also have some marketing for this, but I was not prepared to discuss that today. We're ready to, I need a prototype of something that we want to put out there to market to folks and say, hey, would you like to donate, and put something out there. The benches will be out there again. We got a room for 15 benches, and we will probably promote those as we did last time. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much for coming and presenting and letting us know. We appreciate what you're doing. I know earlier today they had a ribbon cutting where they're getting things started over there, and somebody made the comment that I think we all can agree with in our community. If you show me a community with a group of veterans that work harder to serve their community and get out and be heard, then we'll be amazed to see it, because I think that we've got some of the hardest working vets imaginable with what y'all do. So we appreciate it.
Which is interesting. You know, you're well aware of the statistics. We got over 3,000 veterans in Pickens County. Number 1 in the state of Georgia of all the veterans. But I promise you, I've been here, I'm going on my 15th year here. Worked at the hospital for 13 years as the HR manager over there. But all the years that I've been here, I couldn't put my hands on 3,000 veterans. I can give you 300 maybe, but that's it. Which is interesting.
Thank you again.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. You'll have a good evening.
I'll give you your life drive back.
Yeah. Maybe not. Thank you.
Sorry, I butchered your last name.
That's okay. You're not doing it.
I knew I was gonna get the bite. I knew I was gonna do it wrong. when we
Thanks.
started. Thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Yeah. We will adjourn the work session. We do have our regular meeting coming up at 5:30. We'll go through that then for all of you that want to stick around. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.